Hey everyone, it's Hunter here at Weather on the Go on this Tuesday, August the 5th, 2025. We're going to be talking about severe weather across the United States. It will bring damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. We're also going to be looking at some flooding rainfall, especially across the southeast, where they have been inundated with heavy rainfall as of recent. We're also going to be looking at the tropical weather update, your fire weather outlook, and everything that you need to know in this forecast. For me, it's been tough sledding this month. I'm trying to get as many people to watch my videos as possible. If you find my videos informative, detailed, life-saving, and just accurate, reliable, make sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, a family member on social media, get the word out there. I definitely appreciate it. And of course, if you have any comments, questions, and concerns, just make sure to jot them down in the comment section down below the video. Let's start here with your severe weather forecast for today. So this is for Tuesday, August the 5th, 2025. In the yellow, that is a slight risk of severe weather. That's a 2 out of 5 on the risk scale. That's where scattered severe thunderstorms will be possible. And notice that's mainly further up to the north, including the Dakotas. Into the dark green, that is a marginal risk. That's a 1 out of 5 on the risk scale. Obviously, the higher up you go on the scale, the more likely severe weather is. So it's a step down from the yellow, but still isolated coverage of severe thunderstorms there into western Minnesota, parts of Iowa, Nebraska, and then getting back into Wyoming and Montana for today. The main threats will be for 60 to 70 mile per hour caliber winds. This could bring down some tree branches, maybe some trees, and then some power lines. So power outages may be possible, again, especially there in the Dakotas, Rapid City, into the Pierre area of South Dakota, and then up into the communities up there into North Dakota. Looking at the hail outlook, again, looking at quarter size hail at least. Some of those hailstones could get up toward golf ball size as we go into the afternoon and the evening. And then there is a formidable tornado risk. They have included a 5% chance of tornadoes in brown across southeastern North Dakota and much of east central South Dakota. And then you see that green color surrounding that. That's a 2% chance of tornadoes within a 25-mile radius. So there is a decent chance at a few tornadoes across the especially eastern portion of South Dakota going into this afternoon and evening. Now, heading into tomorrow on Wednesday, August 6th, we have an isolated threat for severe weather. Again, this is a marginal risk in dark green. This is a 1 out of 5 on the risk scale from portions of Minnesota, including the Twin Cities region, and then southwest from there. So the eastern and southern Dakotas again, into Nebraska near Lincoln and Omaha, and then into western portions of Iowa. This is west of Des Moines, Sioux Falls, those areas. Storm Lake, Iowa could be included on Wednesday. The main threats, again, 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. We're looking at the threat for some more quarter size hail, and then the tornado threat tomorrow is low. It's lower than today. It's less than 2% in all areas across the United States. Now let's look here at the storm energy. This is your instability heading into this afternoon around 3-4 o'clock. Notice it's around 3 to 4,000 joules per kilogram. So this is a powder keg for thunderstorms to tap into this afternoon. And notice the rotation. This is your significant tornado parameter space, and this shows you the rotation in the lowest, the lowest kilometer of the atmosphere. And notice the numbers are pretty low here this noon hour, but as we go through the afternoon, we're going to start to see these brighter colors show up. The oranges, the reds, the pinks, the purples. That's a lot more rotation starting to get acquired in the lowest region of the atmosphere. And as these storms tap into that, they could produce a few tornadoes here this afternoon, especially late this afternoon and early this evening. That's typically when the low-level jet really starts to increase. So what you're looking at here, you see the thunderstorms up in North Dakota here at noon. The white, that is your cloud cover. The blue, that's where we see sunshine. And notice we have a lot of cloud cover up here into the northern United States as we go into the noon hour. Some thunderstorms roaming across the landscape there in North Dakota. As we go into mid-afternoon, we're going to watch these individual, really nasty storm cells pop up right on the North and South Dakota state line. And those initially could be producing large hail, so up to golf ball size. and tornadoes. Okay, so they're by themselves. That means the low level rotation has a lot better of a chance to get ingested into these storms and produce tornadoes. Now, as we go into the late afternoon, while tornadoes are still possible, I think this is going to turn more into a damaging wind and hail threat as this pushes into the eastern Dakotas. But notice the storms down here in eastern South Dakota. Some of those supercells want to hang on here on the leading edge or just ahead of the storm, and these could still produce those tornadoes even on the leading edge of this line. So I want you to be careful there from Rapid City, but especially eastward toward Pierre in South Dakota for the potential of some damaging straight line winds, of course, and hail, but tornadoes even embedded in this line going into the early evening hours. Eventually this line will be on a weakening trend as it approaches the Omaha and even the Storm Lake metropolitan areas there in Nebraska and Iowa as we go into overnight. This is 3 o'clock or so in the morning, and that could spread some debris cloud cover across the Midwest as we go into Wednesday. So going through Wednesday, still some storms going on there in southern Iowa, northern Missouri through the majority of the morning. Those will continue to dwindle out. We'll have a lot of cloud cover up here into the Midwest, and then additional storms will pop up Wednesday afternoon on more of a isolated to scattered basis. Any outflow boundary from tonight's storms in the Dakotas region could lead to more of those storms popping up further south into Nebraska and Iowa, again with a marginal threat of severe weather on Wednesday afternoon and evening. Putting it all together, looking at some pretty heavy rainfall here through 7 a.m. on Thursday, August 7th. We are looking at the potential for a couple of inches of rain, so this could cause some flash flooding in isolated areas, especially if you get a lot of this rainfall in a short amount of time, especially there from the Dakotas into western Iowa. Now let's look here at the eastern view of the United States. Got some thunderstorms, a lot of cloud cover across the southeast. Again, the blue is the sunshine, and you can see sunshine prevailing across the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes up there toward Michigan and into the northeast at times, especially into Pennsylvania and southern New York this noon hour. As we go here into the afternoon, we're going to spread some cloud cover further up to the north there, into the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. So it kind of be a mix of sun and clouds, and there could also be a few thunderstorm cells popping up, with the most prevalent storm activity expected to be across the southeast, and you can see that that will continue even through the day on Wednesday from the southeast there up toward the mid-Atlantic, so much so that we could be seeing some pretty hefty rainfall totals across the Carolinas, especially the central and eastern Carolinas down there toward eastern Georgia. Some areas in North Carolina could be peaking over 6 inches of rainfall just between now and 7 a.m. there on Thursday, so there could be some significant flash flooding in some of those areas. As you can imagine, there's a lot of hilly terrain down here, and that could cause a lot of runoff. In the western U.S., we got lots of sunshine prevailing here currently. Some thunderstorms up there into northeastern Montana. As we go through the afternoon, some more storms may develop down here with the monsoonal flow across eastern Arizona into western New Mexico. They should be short-lived, but we're going to keep an eye on that. And then we have more shower activity up towards Seattle as a storm system moving in there. Lots of cloud cover overspreading Portland, Oregon as well. Other than that, we're seeing lots of sunshine here for Phoenix and hot temperatures as we go through the next couple of days. That is for sure. Rainfall amounts going to be very far north. We're talking northeastern Montana, Washington State, maybe as far south as northwestern Oregon, and that's not really that far south. So bone dry outside of the monsoonal flow in Arizona, Colorado, and New Mexico. Bone dry out here across the desert southwest through Thursday morning. Speaking of Thursday, on August 7th, we have more threats for severe weather, including parts of the Pacific Northwest, northern plains, back into the Dakotas, northern Nebraska. This is another 1 out of 5 marginal risk of severe weather in dark green, meaning isolated severe thunderstorms will be possible. And then on Friday, August 8th, a slight risk of severe weather. That's a 2 out of 5 again on the risk scale, where scattered severe thunderstorms will be possible from, again, the eastern Dakotas and into northwestern Minnesota. Damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes will be possible. So going into Thursday morning, we got double-barreled area of high pressure with some sunshine prevailing across the northeast. And then as we go here further to the west, we got a lot of active weather, stormy conditions Thursday and Friday. Friday, we're looking at a complex of storms again that could overspread the eastern Dakotas into northwest Minnesota, primarily with the damaging wind and hail threat, but a few tornadoes may be possible with this. That low pressure system is going to be up into Manitoba and Saskatchewan. And then as that moves through this weekend, we're going to have a slow moving cold front moving south, battling that ridge to the south as well, and taking its time to move through the Midwest with more additional rounds of isolated severe thunderstorms. Going through the weekend ahead, this is through Sunday night on August 10th. Here's the rainfall. Two distinct areas, the southern Canadian prairies and the upper Midwest, and then down here into the southeast, including Florida. Other than that, very dry out here in the desert southwest, pretty dry in the southern plains and Ohio Valley, and then up into the northeast. There are some rain opportunities, but they are lighter rain opportunities as we go through the upcoming week. We are talking about that ridge. That's that ridge we're talking about that cold front is fighting as we go into the weekend ahead. And that ridge could actually get pretty strong by tomorrow. 600 decameters here of a ridge of high pressure into New Mexico. That is pretty strong for mid-August standard or early August standards even. And you can see as we go through the weekend ahead, that ridge is going to amplify across the eastern United States, meaning our temperatures will be warming up. So here are your high temperatures. Phoenix 112 this afternoon. We're into the triple digits, even into eastern Colorado, right off the Front Range, lower elevation. You bet we're going to be hot there. Rain cooled air continuing across the southeast, and then just generally some cooler weather with lower humidity continuing across the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. That will come to an end as we go into Wednesday, but especially Thursday as some of this heat really begins to build. Look at that, 116 in Phoenix, 109 in Vegas, 115 there into San Diego. Very hot, record highs possible across the desert southwest by Thursday, August 7th. Triple digits building all the way up to Rapid City at 100 degrees, 101 there into southwestern Kansas, and then 103 near Amarillo. And then Friday, a lot of that heat begins to build. The humidity begins to build as well, out ahead of that cold front into the Midwest and Ohio Valley before the cold front comes through and brings a little bit of some cooler relief. But even at night, our cool temperatures will be going away over the next few nights as we warm up those daytime highs. We're going to also warm up those nighttime lows. And we're going to be seeing those even record warm low temperatures into Wisconsin and up here into the UP of Michigan, near 70 degrees by the time we get towards Saturday morning on August 9th. So even those muggy and very humid mornings, sticky mornings, going to be coming back there across the Midwest and the Great Lakes by this weekend. Now let's talk about the long range pattern here heading into next week between Monday, August 11th and Friday, August 15th, which is right up here with the midway point of August. Above normal temperature should be the rule of the roost here across the United States and southern Canada, and then a little bit leaning near normal to slightly below normal with our temperatures across the southeast, and that has a lot to do with precipitation. Rain cooled air going to keep you cooler next week, and it looks like the active weather is really going to be festering across the eastern United States and portions of southern and southeastern Canada with underneath that ridge. Notice the brown starting to show up here in the plains, central southern plains most prevalent, with dry weather as we go between Monday, August 11th and Friday, August 15th next week. Here's the European run of the rainfall with that breaking down that cold front here as it moves further to the south, kind of getting stuck into the Midwest, Great Lakes region, but areas from Iowa into Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and Michigan could get some pretty heavy rainfall. That could extend up into Canada, so Ontario and Quebec. And then the GFS is actually a little bit further to the south because the cold front progresses a little bit further south as well and breaking down the pattern. So it has it from the Texas and Oklahoma panhandle up there through areas of downstate Illinois, Missouri, and Indiana. So we're going to keep an eye on that. A little bit of differences in the models here. European further north, GFS further south with the precipitation heading into next week. I want to touch on this. This is your fire weather outlook. Look at the relative humidity values and percentages as we go into this next few days here, next 3 days. So this afternoon, 3 to 7% here into the western United States. And then as we go into tomorrow, same deal, and Thursday as well. So just daily, very low relative humidity percentages and dry fuels out there. And that is correlating with a critical fire weather concern from Utah into northwestern Colorado. In orange, that's an elevated fire weather concern, and there is a concern for dry thunderstorms in eastern Arizona, western New Mexico this afternoon as we go into Wednesday. Kind of the same area where we're looking at a elevated in orange and in the cherry red critical fire weather concern, and brown dry thunderstorm risk that could spark new fires across Arizona, northwestern New Mexico, and into Colorado. And then again, similar areas as we go into Thursday. So it's going to be a long time before we can get rid of this fire weather concern, and a lot of it has to do with the dry fuels. But if a fire gets started and it gets uncontrollable, it could get uncontrollable very quickly. That's why it's very important to touch on this, because wind gusts out here are going to be in excess of 40 miles per hour in some spots, and again, that is going to be enough to cause some wildfires to really spread. So hopefully that you are taking your precautions out west. If you have any controlled burning or any campfires, just be mindful of this atmosphere and how it's behaving as we go through the week. Now let's talk here first as the tropics, and we're talking about the East Pacific first, okay? And you're probably wondering why. Well, we have Tropical Storm Henriette that has formed, and this is well east of the Hawaiian Islands right now. And then again, you see a red area crossing into the East Pacific with another likely chance of a system developing on the heels there of that one. But let's talk about Henriette, okay? This is a tropical storm, pretty decent tropical storm, maximum sustained winds of 50 miles an hour. Notice the movement. It's moving west-northwest at 15 miles per hour, and it's likely going to remain a tropical storm all the way through this upcoming weekend, through at least Sunday morning at 2 a.m. And that gets very close to the Hawaiian Islands. You can see the big island there on the Hawaiian Islands just on the left side of your screen there, and that is something we got to keep an eye on here as this system travels to the west. So what you're looking at is your 500 millibar vorticity map. This is the spin in the lowest part of the atmosphere, and you can see it's going to be moving further to the west-northwest and getting closer to Hawaii each and every day here that we get towards the weekend, and it is going to get dangerously close to the Hawaiian Islands there by the time we get to Sunday, August 10th. Now, we've been talking about this for a while, that this could swell up some waves just to the north of Hawaii there. It's going to get very close. So rip current risks, rough surf could be something to watch as we go through the weekend, but especially early next week around this time, Monday into Tuesday, which would be between around the 10th and 12th of August. Now let's look here at the Atlantic Ocean, rather. So we have tropical storm over here as well, tropical storm Dexter in the northwest Atlantic. This is moving away from North America, so not a threat to land. We have another medium chance of development just off of the coast of the southeast in the Carolinas at a 40% odds. If you watched my video yesterday, this was at 30%. Now it's up to 40%. And then across the main development region, there's a large cone out there of uncertainty of development. That's around a 50% chance of development here as we go through the long range over the next 7 days. Let's look at the background state of the atmosphere. We got the Bermuda High. It's weak, and it's up here up into portions of the northeast Atlantic. There is Tropical Storm Dexter. You can see that right there in blue. And then there is some weakness getting closer to the southeast coast of the U.S., and that's important because this could actually lead to a tropical system developing as we go through the next few days, probably closer to the weekend, but that is going to be fighting a ridge further to the north. Now, as we go through the long range, and we're going to put all our eggs in our basket here, you can see we're going to see a tropical wave, and it's robust coming off of the monsoonal flow of the Saharan Desert, and it's going to be moving from east to west across the MDR. That's the main development region, and taking a run perhaps toward the Lesser Antilles. Now, this won't happen until the middle to late portion of next week, so keep that in mind. It is several days out, and things can certainly change, but notice this moves it into the Eastern Caribbean, and this is as far as we're going to go because this is 246 hours out, and it's, again, closing in on August 15th. So something to keep an eye on, nothing to panic about, but something we're keeping an eye on. That is the European run. Here's the GFS run, and you can see there's Dexter up there. It kind of gets washed out. We got a little bit of weakness there in the southeast coast region off the Carolina coast as we go into the weekend. Could develop something, probably just a rain system. And then we go in towards the middle of next week. Yes, there's that robust tropical wave moving into the main development region, but the GFS really doesn't have any what I would call noise on the model guidance. It really doesn't show anything in the Caribbean. So there are differences. So this is not a far gone conclusion that we're going to see a tropical system in the Caribbean, but it's just something to watch as we go towards the middle of August. Just to confirm this a little bit more, here is some ensemble guidance and their members that show some of this low pressure moving further to the west. Again, there's Dexter that's moving away from North America. We got a couple of ensemble members showing a low pressure, maybe a tropical depression trying to form off the southeast and Carolina coast as we go into the upcoming weekend. And then here it goes. We go toward the middle of the month, and there are members scattered all over the place, literally from South America up to the Western Atlantic. There is no way possible to know if the Caribbean's going to be impacted, the Bahamas, or anybody will be impacted. Bermuda, we don't know that yet. There are members literally all over the place. You could throw a dart at a dartboard, and you would be about as good as I am at forecasting this right now, looking at these maps. You can see that here on the GFS Ensemble, and it is the same tune here with the ensemble members literally all over the place, from the Gulf to the Caribbean to the Northwest Atlantic to literally nothing happening. So if you are seeing all of this hype on social media about people saying a major Cat 5 is going to hit the Caribbean or the United States, that is hogwash, folks. There is tons of different solutions right now. We are still over a week out, and this system hasn't even crossed outside of Africa yet. This is still on land of Africa, hasn't even moved off the African coast yet, and that is just something we got to keep an eye on as we go towards the middle of August. Thank you all for watching, folks. Again, if you find my forecast detailed, accurate, reliable, and life-saving, make sure to like the video, give it a thumbs up. It helps to get all of this information to more and more people. You want to go above and beyond, share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe to the channels. We'll have another video forecast either later today and again probably tomorrow. And also, if you have any comments, questions, and concerns, jot them down in the comment section down below this video. I want to hear from you as well. If you got any questions for me, I'll answer them after the video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you all in the next video.